Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. Dynamite tonight was from the PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina, and the show just ended 5 minutes ago. And Dynamite tonight, I thought it was a good show, but it wasn't the best show. It wasn't their best by any means. But still, it was a good show. It wasn't bad, but still, it wasn't their best, in my opinion. But tonight on Dynamite, we saw Wardlow versus CM Punk. Dante was in action, and he took on Powerhouse Hobbs. You had Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida. Penta Miedo went one-on-one with Matt Hardy. We had the Acclaimed versus Bear Country. And in the main event, the Interim TNT Championship was on the line. Sammy Guevara versus Garcia. Overall, Dynamite tonight, good show, but wasn't the best, in my opinion. So let's jump right into the review. So Dynamite opened up tonight with Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish. So Adam Cole got on the mic. Cole went on to say that 2021 was a great year for the three of them, for him, O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish. But he ended up saying that this year, 2022, will be better. Cole reminded everyone that he hasn't been pinned or made to submit yet in AEW ever since he debuted. So that's good for Adam Cole. Hasn't been pinned or submitted. He's undefeated ever since he debuted, which is awesome. Keep up that momentum for Adam Cole. But Cole ended up saying that the boys are back together, and they are the baddest team on God's green earth. He ended up saying that it is a new era here in AEW. And then Cole, O'Reilly, and Fish end up getting interrupted by the Young Bucks. Matt and Nick made their way out. They have been out because Matt Jackson got tested positive for COVID. Also, Brandon Cutler was also by them. Brandon Cutler is another one, just like Matt Jackson, who tested positive for COVID. So they end up returning tonight on Dynamite. Matt Jackson ended up saying that he kicked COVID's ass in 2 days. He ended up saying that he would come and join them, and he ended up thanking them for the invite. Kyle O'Reilly ended up saying that nobody invited them before either. And they didn't need help beating the Super Friends. So Matt Jackson ended up telling O'Reilly, Fish, and Cole that this is their company, and that they are the longest reigning tag team champions in history. Of course, Matt and Nick. Kyle O'Reilly ended up saying to Matt Jackson, "Oh, that's funny," as they had the same resolution. Bobby Fish then ended up claiming that there isn't a single team that will stop them from getting the titles, and that includes the Bucks. So Adam Cole ended up saying, "Oh, this is what we need, friendly competition." So he ended up saying that is what makes them the greatest faction in AEW history. So then the best friends end up making their way out. Of course, Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, and Wheeler Yuta. So they made their way down to the ring. Cole ended up telling someone to cut the best friends' music off. So Cole ended up saying to Orange Cassidy, who had nothing to say, Cole ended up saying to Cassidy, what does he have to say that is any important whatsoever? So Orange Cassidy then ended up jumping on Adam Cole, and we had the Bucks and the best friends, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, end up brawling. Cole ended up low-blowing Orange Cassidy, and he was looking to go for the super kick, and Chris Statlander, the alien Chris Statlander, got in Adam Cole's way, and they were face-to-face with each other. And then we see Adam Cole's girlfriend, Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. She ended up appearing, and she took out Chris Statlander. Baker delivered the curb stomp on Statlander, and she ended up setting up Orange Cassidy for Adam Cole to deliver the boom. So Cole ended up posing for the kick spot, where the Bucks end up kissing Adam Cole on the cheek, but Britt Baker ended up stopping the Bucks. So Britt Baker ended up kissing her boyfriend Adam Cole instead, which, that's cool. Adam Cole, Britt Baker, the best couple in pro wrestling. So pretty much, basically, that was that. Overall, good opening to Dynamite tonight. This was a good segment. And also, looks like this is going to be setting up. We're going to see it. We're going to see the Young Bucks versus Red Dragon. That's going to be awesome right there whenever that happens. Looking forward to it. Should be a very good matchup there. But overall, good opening to Dynamite. Really enjoyed this segment. And then we had the first match of the night, which was Wardlow versus CM Punk. Of course, Wardlow ended up coming out along with MJF. And this was a good match. Points it was slow, in my opinion. But still, it was a good match. So the match started off with Punk immediately sliding out of the ring. And Punk was looking to face off with MJF. Wardlow then also slid out of the ring. He stood in the middle between Punk and MJF. So Wardlow and Punk were back in the ring. Wardlow ended up throwing Punk into the corner and dropped him with a shoulder tackle. Punk came back, delivered a few strikes in the corner to Wardlow. But Wardlow came back. He delivered a club and blow to Punk. Wardlow was working on Punk's shoulder. He ended up taking too long on, working on the shoulder on Punk. And Punk ended up attacking Wardlow's knee. So Wardlow came back. He ended up launching Punk into the corner as he ended up going out on the floor. Punk continued to fight back. He ended up hitting a tornado DDT, but Wardlow ended up shrugging him off of that. Wardlow was looking to go for the powerbomb, and Punk ended up escaping. He catched Wardlow with a kick to the head. So we had Punk deliver a clothesline. He delivered several clotheslines to Wardlow, and Wardlow didn't go down. It didn't phase Wardlow with those clotheslines that Punk was delivering to him. So Punk then ended up hitting the springboard clothesline to Wardlow, which knocked Wardlow down. Punk then ended up going for a knee to Wardlow's head in the corner. And then MJF ended up distracting Punk. He ended up getting in his head. And Wardlow then delivered a powerbomb to Punk. And with the powerbombs, Wardlow ended up delivering 7 powerbombs to Punk. So we had Wardlow hit the first powerbomb, followed that up with a second, a third, and a fourth, and a fifth powerbomb to Punk. After the 5th powerbomb was delivered by Wardlow to Punk, Wardlow was looking to go for the pin. And MJF then got on the apron. MJF demanded to Wardlow that he does more damage to Punk. So Wardlow ended up getting up Punk, and he nailed a 6 powerbomb to Punk. And then once again, MJF was demanding more for Wardlow to just deliver more powerbombs to Punk. So he then nailed Punk with a 7th powerbomb, Wardlow. So we had Punk end up rolling out of the ring. MJF ended up clearing the timekeeper's table, and he demanded Wardlow to put Punk through the table. So Wardlow was not happy about that, taking an order from MJF. So we had Wardlow end up powerbombing Punk through the table. So Punk somehow managed to get back to the ring before the ref counted 10. MJF then demanded another powerbomb that Wardlow hit on Punk. So Wardlow ended up slowly going for another powerbomb. But Punk ended up getting the inside cradle, and he ended up beating Wardlow, so CM Punk ended up winning the match. Post-match, MJF was going crazy with Wardlow. He ended up grabbing his hand, seemed to be losing his cool, and then Shawn Spears ended up getting in the ring. So Shawn Spears ended up calming things down between MJF and Wardlow, and that was that. But overall, this was a good match. A little slow in parts, though, but wasn't boring. It was a good match. And then we had Powerhouse Hobbs versus Dante Martin. Of course, Hobbs ended up coming out along with Ricky Starks. And Leo Rush wasn't on the show tonight. Usually Leo Rush manages Dante Martin. So like I said, Leo Rush wasn't on the show tonight. But this was a good match. And the match started off with Dante Martin. He ended up sprinting to the ring. And both him and Hobbs ended up brawling outside the ring. Hobbs ended up sending Martin into the ring. Martin ended up connected with some kicks before he launched himself at Hobbs. And both Martin and Hobbs both went back out of the ring. So Dante Martin ended up trying to come off of the ring apron. Hobbs caught Dante Martin and nailed him with a spine buster on the outside. Hobbs then ended up playing Martin to the match several times. So we had Hobbs end up nailing Dante Martin with a clothesline, which was a brutal clothesline to Dante Martin, turned him inside out. Hobbs then ended up locking in a torture rack on Dante Martin. Martin ended up breaking out of that, only to be leveled with another clothesline. Hobbs then ended up launching Dante Martin into a turnbuckle, and Dante Martin went out of the ring. And then Ricky Starks got involved. Ricky Starks ended up attacking Dante Martin, just kicking him. Looked like Ricky Starks was doing a kicking dance while he was kicking at Dante Martin. And the official, the referee wasn't even looking at that. The referee didn't have eyes on Ricky Starks, just kicking away at Dante Martin. So then we had Hobbs continuing his attack on Dante Martin. And he delivered an elbow strike and a high boot to Dante Martin. Hobbs ended up locking back in the torture rack. But once again, Dante Martin ended up getting out of that. And he delivered some strikes to Hobbs. And so Martin ended up delivering the missile dropkick to Hobbs. Hobbs was on the outside. So Hobbs tried to get back into the ring. Dante Martin ended up attacking him. So Hobbs ended up charging into Dante Martin. Starks got involved again. But Jay Lethal Jay Lethal ended up appearing. He ended up pulling Ricky Starks away. Dante Martin ended up connecting with the nosedive on Powerhouse Hobbs. And he went for the cover. And there you go. Dante Martin ended up winning the match. Overall, it was a good match, in my opinion. And then we saw Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was backstage along with Santana Ortiz and Jake Hager. So Jericho ended up saying that it is an honor that the Inner Circle got named Faction of the Year. And they rightfully deserve it. The Inner Circle is the best faction nowadays in AEW. So it's a very enjoyable faction, the Inner Circle. So we had Jericho end up saying since day one, they promised to dominate the country and company. He ended up saying that Sammy Guevara will win the match tonight against Daniel Garcia. So Eddie Kingston ended up appearing out of nowhere. He stuck his head out of nowhere. Eddie Kingston ended up saying to Jericho that he doesn't care about that, and that he's bothered about his injured knee. Eddie then ended up telling Santana Ortiz that the reason they've not been champions is because of Jericho. Eddie Kingston ended up telling Santana Ortiz that they're a family. So we had Santana Ortiz end up walking away. So did Jake Hager. So Jericho ended up saying to Eddie Kingston that he will be ringside tonight. And if 2.0 get involved, he will fight them. So he ended up saying that if Eddie got involved, he might fight him too. So there you go. That was that. So then we saw MJF. MJF ended up storming out, and he got on the mic. He congratulated CM Punk. And he ended up saying that Punk is in a world of pain, and that he got powerbombed to oblivion. He wanted to say that Punk got a fluke victory over an oath later on in the night. MJF ended up saying that next week he will personally make sure Punk gets his first L. So he ends up saying that next week is the match everyone wants. And that is CM Punk versus Shawn Spears. So that was that. So again, that match next week, Punk versus Shawn Spears. And then we saw Adam Cole. Adam Cole was with, of course, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish. And Adam Cole ended up saying that it has gotten silly with the best friends. So he ended up telling the alien, Chris Statlander, if she thought they were safe, they should think again. Britt Baker ended up appearing. She ended up challenging her and Orange Cassidy to a mixed tag next week. So it's going to be Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander versus Adam Cole and Britt Baker. So we're going to be seeing that next week. Then we saw the AEW World Champion, Hangman Page. He ended up appearing. Page got on the mic. He ended up saying that over the past 2 months, he spent 90 minutes in the ring against one of the best in the world. Of course, him versus Bryan Danielson. Their second match was better than the first match that they had at Winter is Coming, where it ended in a draw, but you already know why they did that, so that they could get another match out of the both of them, so we could have a winner. So Page ended up saying that he's poured sweat and blood all for the AEW World Championship. He ended up saying, however, 90 minutes isn't enough. So Page wanted to say that he needs a new challenger. And then Dan Lambert ended up coming out. Page ended up saying, oh God, shoot me. So Page ended up saying to Dan Lambert that he didn't come out here to hear from a walk-in Facebook profile. So we had Lambert end up saying that the matches Page and Danielson are some of the best that he's ever seen in the 40 years that he's been watching wrestling. He ended up saying that he respects him for not taking the Cody Rhodes path with backstage politics. He wanted to say that Page has earned everything other than the persona that he's using as his gimmick. So Lambert ended up saying that the guy in the Village People can say he's a cowboy, but it doesn't make it true. He tells Page to stop disrespecting the legacies of people like Blackjack Mulligan. He ended up saying that people doing that come across as full of cowboy shit. And then Page ended up saying, well, I'm living with cattle. Isn't cowboy shit? So Dan Lambert tried to leave. And then we had the return of Lance Archer. So Lance Archer ended up coming out, and he looked like he was going to attack Lambert, but Lance Archer ended up taking out Hangman Page. So we had Lance Archer. He ended up using the chair to attack Page, and he set the chair up. Archer ended up hitting the blackout on Page on the chair, and he left Page just lying there. So that was that. But overall, this segment, it was okay in my opinion. So either looks like it's going to be Page taking on either Ethan Page or Scorpio Sky. That's my prediction because Dan Lambert came out. So those could be Page's next opponents. And then he'll move on to Lance Archer. Or he'll face Lance Archer next. So then we saw Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson was shown with his son Brock and Lee Moriarty. So Arn ended up telling them it is Horseman country. Tully Blanchard and FTR, Harwood, and Wheeler end up arriving. Blanchard ended up saying that if he wants to feel it again, he needs to ditch the Deadwood, as he was talking to Arn Anderson. So FTR ended up suggesting a tag team match. So Brock Anderson and Lee Moriarty end up accepting the challenge. So it's going to be Lee Moriarty and Brock Anderson versus FTR. Should be a good matchup there. But overall, that was that. And then we had Hikaru Shida versus Serena Deeb. And this was a quick matchup here. This was a quick women's match. So as Hikaru Shida made her entrance, Serena Deeb ended up taking out Shida's knee. Serena Deeb chased Hikaru Shida, took out her knee. So Deeb ended up continuing by using the stairs. She ended up getting the advantage before the bell ended up ringing. So we had Hikaru Shida end up getting in the ring. Serena Deeb ended up attacking the knee. So Serena Deeb ended up using the ropes to her advantage. And Serena Deeb ended up ripping away Hikaru Shida's knee pad. Ended up slamming it into the mat. Serena Deeb ended up focusing still on Shida's knee. And the referee ended up ending the match. So there you go. Serena Deeb ended up winning the match. Post-match, Hikaru Shida was mad at the referee ending the match there. So the doctor ends up coming in to check on Hikaru Shida. Serena Deeb ended up getting the kendo stick, and she started beating down on Hikaru Shida's leg. And officials tried to held Serena Deeb back. And that was that. But overall, very quick women's match there. Wasn't good, in my opinion. And then we saw the Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy and Christian Cage. They were backstage. They ended up saying that they're ready to defend the AEW World Tag Team titles against any team in the top 5. So the Dark Order ended up appearing, and Dark Order challenged the Jurassic Express to a match. So that's going to be happening on Rampage this Friday. So we're going to be seeing that. And then we had Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy was in the ring. He ended up saying that he is sorry that Rey Fenix got injured. As you could tell from last week, in the main event where Rey Fenix ended up going through the table and he injured himself. He injured his arm, probably broke the arm. So Matt Hardy ended up saying that tonight in his hometown, because of course this was in his hometown of North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. So he had his family there, sitting in front. And he ended up saying that he's going to delete Penta to send him to the hospital to be with his brother Phoenix. So then we had the matchup start where it was Matt Hardy versus Penta El Zero Miedo. So the match starts out with Matt Hardy and Penta. They're doing their catchphrases. Matt Hardy with the delete, and then Penta with the Zero Miedo. So they did that a whole lot of times. So we had Matt Hardy. He ended up taking off Penta's glove, and then he takes down Penta with a clothesline. So we had Matt Hardy end up walking straight into a super kick from Penta, and he ended up following that up with some chops. So Penta ended up sending Matt Hardy to the outside with a thrust kick. He tried to launch himself out of the ring, and Matt Hardy ended up stopping Penta with a right hand. So he ended up taking Penta into the barricade, and Matt Hardy ended up dropping an elbow from the second rope, and that did nothing to Penta because Matt Hardy ended up going for the cover, and Penta kicked out. So Matt Hardy ended up knocking Penta down once again with a elbow strike, and he followed it up with a leg drop before the delete into the turnbuckles. So Matt Hardy ended up dropping Penta with a DDT, and he went for the cover, and Penta ended up kicking out. So Matt Hardy ended up sending Penta onto the top rope, and he ended up slipping underneath him, kicked out the ankle of Matt Hardy, which Penta did. So Penta slipped underneath Matt Hardy, kicked out the ankle of Matt Hardy. So we had Penta stomping away at Matt Hardy from the top, and he went for the cover. Matt Hardy ended up kicking out. So Matt Hardy ended up delivering the side effect to Penta. So he went for the cover, and Penta kicked out. So Matt Hardy was trying to go for the moonsault press. Penta ended up moving out of the way, and Penta ended up delivering the fear factor, and he went for the cover, and there you go. Penta ended up winning the match. Post-match, we had Penta and Alex Abrahantes. They ended up sending the message to Malachi Black while Alex Abrahantes was on the other mic. So Alex Abrahantes ended up saying that Penta will teach Black some respect. So the lights end up going out in the arena, and Black end up appearing in the ring. So Malachi Black took out Alex Abrahantes. He then ended up pinning Penta with some super kicks. Black tried to rip off Penta's mask, and the Varsity Blondes, Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., end up appearing. They end up helping out Penta. Julia Hart ended up telling them to stop. Of course, Julia Hart still wearing the eye patch after Black spit that mist at her. So the lights end up going out again. And as the lights came back on, we had Brody King in the ring. Brody King from ROH, from Ring of Honor. So we had Brody and Malachi Black. They end up taking out Penta and, of course, the Varsity Blondes. So all three of them were laid out. And we have Malachi Black and Brody King working together. They end up standing tall and they left. And that was basically that. So Brody King makes his appearance on Dynamite. So that's cool there. And watch Julia Hart end up going into the House of Black. I can see that happening. So Julia Hart will join the House of Black soon. That's going to be happening. I just know it. So then we had Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander was talking with Tony Schiavone backstage about the mixed tag team match with her and Orange Cassidy versus Adam Cole and Britt Baker. And Layla Hirsch ended up questioning if that is selfish of her to focus on that before their Rampage match. So Red Velvet, who was also there, she ended up telling both Chris Statlander and Layla Hirsch to get it together. So that was that. And then we had the Acclaimed, Max Caster, Anthony Bowens versus Bear Country. This was a match that you would see on AEW Dark. This was an AEW Dark match, in my opinion. So we had the Acclaimed do their rap, of course, when they came out. Always awesome rap that they do. So the match started off with Bear Country taking down both the Acclaimed. They lift up the Acclaimed and drop them onto each other. So we had Bear Country, Bear Bronson, Bear Boulder. They were doing some fast tags, double teams on the Acclaimed. And they then got pushed into each other by Anthony Bowens. Bowens ended up decking Boulder with a super kick. Max Caster ended up launching himself in from the top rope onto Boulder. So they continued to work over on Bear Bronson in the corner because the Acclaimed were doing several tags. Bowens was looking to lift up Bear Bronson. He couldn't do it. So we had Bear Boulder end up taking down both the Acclaimed. He launched the Acclaimed around and hit a double flatliner to them. So at the end of the match, we had the Acclaimed win the match, where Bowens ended up hitting the elbow strike to Boulder, and he's then launched out to the floor. And he was on the outside. He was pulling him down. Bowens was pulling Boulder down. So it allowed Max Caster to follow up with the mic drop. And there you go. The Acclaimed ended up winning the match. So as the Acclaimed ended up making their way up the ramp, Sting ended up coming out. So the Acclaimed ended up backing away from Sting. Darby Allin ended up appearing on the other side. He launched himself through the ropes with the skateboard. He ended up taking out Max Caster. Sting ended up using his bat to hit Anthony Bowens. And then Sting ended up connecting with the Scorpion Death Drop onto Bowens. and that was that. But overall, this is a match that you would see on AEW Dark. Overall, the match was okay. And then we had a video package of Pac. Pac ended up saying that his perspective is different now, and his vision has never been so clear. So he ended up pulling up a card that says Justice on it. So that was that little video package with Pac. Main event. Sammy Guevara versus Daniel Garcia. Interim TNT Championship on the line. We had Jericho out there in Sammy's corner. You had Eddie Kingston also out there. Forgot to mention when I talked about the Jericho and Eddie segment that we saw earlier in the night. You had Jericho end up telling Eddie Kingston to GFY, meaning go fuck yourself, which, that's funny. So he really said go fuck yourself to Eddie Kingston. So the match got underway with Guevara and Garcia. Both men went at it. They started brawling. Garcia ended up hitting a kick to the back of Guevara's head, which Sammy then came back and did the same thing. So Sammy ended up sending Daniel Garcia to the outside, and he followed up with a huge dive. So both guys went back to the ring. Daniel Garcia regained control of the match. He delivered a backbreaker to Guevara, which sent Guevara to the outside. Garcia then ended up driving Guevara into the ring apron. And then he locked in the Boston Crab, and Sammy ended up making it to the ropes. So we had Daniel Garcia end up doing the bow and arrow submission to Guevara. Guevara ended up countering that with a lateral press. So Guevara ended up going for the cover, which Garcia ended up kicking out. So Garcia ended up delivering a clothesline to Guevara. Sammy then came back and nailed a clothesline of his own. So Sammy was looking to leap into Garcia, but Garcia ended up going outside of the ring. So Sammy was then looking to go for another top move. Daniel Garcia ended up pulling his legs from the turnbuckle, and the back of Guevara's neck bounced off the turnbuckle, which was brutal. Garcia ended up dropping Guevara down to the mat, and he went for the cover, and Guevara ended up kicking out. Sammy then delivered the pump kick, and Garcia ended up sending in the Scorpion Death Lock. So on the outside, 2.0 ended up coming over, and they jumped Jericho and Eddie Kingston. So we had Guevara end up winning the match. He ended up hitting the GTH on Daniel Garcia. So there you go. Sammy Guevara ended up winning the match, retaining the Interim TNT Championship. Post-match 2.0, they end up trying to jump Sammy Guevara. Jericho and Kingston end up taking them out. And Jericho and Kingston ended up arguing. And they were arguing back and forth. And that was how Dynamite went off the air tonight. Overall, this was a good match from Guevara and Daniel Garcia. Of course, we all knew that Sammy Guevara was going to retain the Interim TNT Championship. And really like to see where this whole Jericho and Eddie Kingston thing is going to go. I think they're going to set off a match with each other. So we're going to see a Jericho versus Eddie Kingston match. So that should be a good match up there when the time comes and we see it. But overall, Dynamite tonight, like I said, good show, but wasn't the best, in my opinion. But anyways, that's it for the Dynamite review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all later.